Hey, you're listening to episode 33 of the TA Pedals podcast. I'm Tristan.
And I'm Stefan.
It's painful, and I love it.
It's painful.
Yeah, I got TMJ. my jaw.
Okay.
It's all right.
You know, it's something interesting about that. Just because I don't know why, but I feel like saying it. But like, so the is it? Yeah.
Is that what you were gonna ask? If it pops?
No. There's the song "Creep." Is it Radiohead?
Yeah.
Yeah. When he does the live version, like in between his verses, he stretches out his mouth like,
Yep.
because he's getting ready for that long sustain that he has like towards the end of the song. Anyway,
Yeah.
I just think that's interesting.
It is interesting. There's a lot of people who suffer from TMJ, and they told me when I was like 12, like before I got braces, that when they took X-rays and they said, "Hey, your jaw is growing incorrectly," and I was like, "Okay, what do we do about that?" And they were like, "Well, you don't need to do anything unless it starts to bother you whenever you get older." And I was like, "Okay, well, I'm a sissy, so I'm probably never going to do that." And here I am 30 years old. I still haven't fixed it, and it does really bother me. That's why it's really hard for like when I sing and stuff for me to open my mouth really wide. And I had in college vocal instruction, and my instructor would always tell me like, open your mouth wider. And I'm like, I can't. She's like, yeah, you can. I'm like, no, I can't. I really can't. And she's like, well, you're going to have to figure it out then. And I'm like, no, I'm just not going to do it. And you're going to have to like deal with the fact that I'm deformed. Like it is what it is. But it really bothers me. And I guess what my orthodontist told me is the way that they would have to fix my jaw is to break it and then like put wires in it to hold it in place while it regrew properly. And I was like, I think I'm good. I think I'll just suffer until I die. Not really, but I am hesitant to do it just because it's anything to do with my mouth is kind of scary. But whatever.
I mean, you don't realize like how much your jaw, how much action it actually has.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can't eat without it. You can't talk without it.
That's why I don't chew gum very often either, because every time I chew, it pops.
You can't even like open your mouth without it.
That's all I got. It's not very wide.
It's wide enough. It's not like
you're putting I'm functioning.
It's not like you're putting anything big in there.
Yeah. So I want to talk about some things I've been going through lately, and I think it's kind of actually refreshing to talk about for me mentally. I've been dealing with some like mental health issues, and so I have stepped away from like our social media. And so for anyone who has been wondering why we've kind of been absent, that's pretty much the reason. I needed to detox some areas of my life and figure out what was causing like what the root of my mental health issues were. And one of those things was just general anxiety about the future. And it's like I'm constantly thinking about like the next thing that I have to do, because that's, naturally what anxiety is. It's future problem solving. And I feel like that I was trying to prepare for the future in so many different areas of my life that it was just like overwhelming me. And so I was like, I'm just going to take a break from social media and, prepare for next month because we're going into peak season for, the holidays and things like that. And I need to be recharged for that because I kind of put myself on a strict schedule of posting something every day, which normally that doesn't bother me. But there's just so many things going on in my mind right now that it kind of got to me a little bit. And with no time to prepare content ahead of time, it kind of just overloaded me. And if I had, I think, made content ahead of time and then kept the same schedule, I probably could have done it. But it was just one of those things that for just a little while I needed to put to the side. Mm-hmm. So if you're following us on social media and you're wondering where we've been, that's what's going on. I needed to just take a break for a minute to take care of myself.
And it's not a big deal that you're taking a break. Like it's really not. And it's not only giving you some time to prepare and get ready for what's coming, but it's also giving me some time to do some stuff too. So,
yeah.
And, I feel like the stuff that we got planned for, the upcoming future is worth, not seeing us every single day.
Yeah. And I mean, it's just like at this point, I kind of feel a responsibility mm-hmm. to the people who follow us and who have kind of, invested their time, and they've looked into what we're doing and they've taken an interest in what we're doing. And then all of a sudden it's just like, they're cut off from maybe a stream of content that they enjoy. Mm-hmm. And so that I kind of feel responsible in that way. But at the same time, if I don't take a break, I'm going to get burnout and the content isn't going to be quality content anyway. It's just going to be me putting bull crap out just because I feel like I have to, and I don't want to do that. So I'm not going to.
I don't think anyone wants to do that. And I don't think it's fair for anyone to ask for anyone to do that.
Yeah, I agree. And
I don't think you should feel bad that you're not posting something. If the followers we have are the people that see things that way, then that's on them. That's not on our shoulders.
At the same time, though, I'm pretty sure they're not. I think that musicians in general understand the struggle that I'm going through, and no one has messaged me to say hey, stupid, why aren't you entertaining me anymore? So I'm happy to say I'm feeling a little bit better already, which is good. But I've been having some troubles physically too, which is kind of weird. And that this is kind of what I wanted, why I wanted to talk about this, because it's kind of interesting in a certain way. So for the last 2 weeks, my right eye has been twitching, and I know that can be caused by stress or lack of sleep or lack of quality sleep. And I think it was all of those things. It's still twitching, but not nearly as bad. But since I've started my break from everything pretty much, I'm taking a break from anything I don't want to do or anything that stresses me out or anything that distracts me from living in the moment. Mm-hmm. And so I've, not to go on a tangent, but I've just been during my detox trying to spend some time with my son, really paying attention to him. Not just being around him while he does things, but really paying attention and, cooking dinner and having a conversation with my wife. And, if my son's running around the living room talking and I'm on my phone and my wife's on her phone, but also we're trying to talk to each other and the TV's going, it's just sensory overload for me. And that's something that I suffer from a lot. And I think it's where a lot of my troubles have come from recently without me even really knowing it. And so I've been like, hey, like, why don't we get off our phones? Why don't we turn the TV down or off and we just talk and enjoy each other's company? And that's really helped me a lot. But back to the eye twitching thing, something that I kind of started trying to do to fix that is get better sleep and regulate my my schedule a little better. And something that I tried to do to make that happen is like go to bed earlier. And then I've tried to get into a routine of like brushing my teeth, flossing, taking my contacts out, maybe putting some moisturizer on my face and, doing that and then going to bed without being on my phone or anything like that. And, I thought it was going to help, but it didn't. And I just figured out why. Something else I've been trying to do, because it's something that helps with depression, is making sure I'm not vitamin D deficient. So for like the last 4 days, I've been taking vitamin D. But the first 3 days, I was taking 3 capsules of vitamin D. And I have 2 different bottles. One is a 25 milligram pill. The other one is a 50 milligram pill. I was taking 3 50 milligram pills, which is, they're each 2,000 UIs each. And so the night before last, I went to bed. I was exhausted. And I went to bed at like 10 o'clock. And I laid in bed all night until 5:30 when I fell asleep. And I didn't understand why. I was like, I'm exhausted. I'm not on my phone. I'm not distracted. I was just laying there breathing like deeply. Anytime my thoughts started to wander, I tried to bring it back to like, don't think, like just focus on my breathing and try to go to sleep. And I didn't fall asleep till 5:30. And then I had to get up at 7:30. And so I got 2 hours of sleep and I was like, what's going on? Like, I feel like I'm doing everything right. Well, I started to do some research on vitamin D because I know that, your skin naturally produces vitamin D when exposed to like UV light from like the sun, for example. And that's kind of what tells your body like, hey, it's daytime. Mm-hmm. And so I started thinking about it. I was like, I've been taking a lot of vitamin D. I wonder if like that's what's going on. And so whenever you take in vitamin D and your body is absorbing that, it inhibits the production of melatonin because it's saying like, wake up, it's daytime. And so I wasn't producing enough melatonin, enough melatonin to make me sleepy. And so even though my body was tired and my mind was tired, like hormonally, I was out of whack and couldn't sleep. So I was like, well, how much vitamin D do I really need? And I need for an adult male my size and age, I need about 600 UIs of vitamin D a day. I was taking 6,000 UIs of vitamin D.
You know what's crazy?
What?
That's a perfect segue to our sponsor. Vitamin D, substitute for caffeine.
So yeah, like I was like, I'm taking 10 times the amount of vitamin D that I need to. My thinking was like, they're small pills. I'm a big guy.
Yeah.
I can probably take 2 or 3 and be fine. Not realizing that like vitamin D is the antithesis of melatonin.
So you would want to take your vitamin D, the one of the 25s
in the morning.
In the morning.
Yes.
And let it dissipate over the day.
Yes, exactly. And that's what I'm going to start doing because my eye twitching, I was trying to solve the problem of my eye twitching and me being tired all the time. And I tried to do that by taking vitamin D and I wrecked myself. So,
well, I mean,
there's that.
If you didn't feel tired, you didn't feel tired.
Yeah, but that's the thing is, it got to the point where I was tired,
but you couldn't go to
but
sleep.
I couldn't go to sleep because my brain hadn't produced the melatonin, like saying, "Hey, like it's time to start winding down and shut down." Mm-hmm. So I just lay there breathing, yawning, and feeling sore like all night. And I was like, this is terrible. So that's kind of where I'm at with that. I just thought that part of what I'm doing was interesting because it's like self-experimentation, I guess. And it's like I just need some time to fix myself. I need some time to take care of myself and to get my systems back in check to make sure that I'm not overdoing it mentally. Like physically, I guess I'm okay. I'm tired all the time and my neck has been hurting a little bit, enough to like give me headaches, but my mind is where my problems are. And it's not just like hormonally, it's a lot of things going on that I need to handle before it gets bad. So I just had to call it, and I will be back on, Instagram and all those things, the beginning of October, and we've got a lot of cool stuff planned. But for now, thank you all for being patient, and thank you, Stefan, for understanding and allowing me time to take care of myself.
Yeah, that's why we're partners.
Yeah.
We got to take care of each other.
It's true.
It's like we're brothers now.
Yeah, for real. For real. I don't know what I'd do without you, buddy.
Yeah, you do the same thing you did before me.
Well, I guess that's true, but it wouldn't be as good. It wouldn't be as good.
Life just doesn't feel complete.
It doesn't. TA Petals is the glue that holds my life together. Not really. I mean, it's a part of it.
I don't know. I feel like it's the glue that holds our lives together.
Yes. There you go.
Because we can have a life separate from each other, but TA Petals is a big part of our relationship.
It is.
And while we can have a good relationship without it, it's stronger with it.
I agree.
Anyway, so we got some cool stuff coming out, soon, and I've been working real hard on some pretty cool stuff, I feel like.
Oh yeah.
We got this whole elaborate story going along with a giveaway, and there's going to be clues and cool stuff to check out, and October is going to be packed full of Halloween goodness.
Indeed.
Yeah.
This, in addition to, everything I've been dealing with, I've been trying to change my mindset and not be so down in the dumps. And so this year, I'm really going to celebrate fall and Halloween. And I'm going to have a good time.
Halloween is my favorite holiday.
Yeah.
That's why I am so excited to do something cool with it.
And you've really taken the lead on this surprise pedal. You've pretty much done everything except for putting it together and testing it. You designed it. You did the cool stuff to it that I can't mention yet. Which, by the way, the enclosures just finished being drilled and painted. They haven't been UV printed yet, but probably tonight. And so should be on their way soon. And
I'd imagine they'd be here next week, which is great.
Perfect timing.
Perfect on schedule. Everything is going exactly how we planned it to.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
And that's great.
I could see it maybe being a few days late, but I don't think so.
I mean, what's today, the 20th?
Yep.
So we have 10 more days.
I bet it'll be here.
We have 10 days of cushion. Should be here by next Friday.
Plus, I'm going to already have the PCBs done, ready to go. Just got to put them in the box.
Yeah. I mean, we can't post pictures of the pedal until we have it all put together, but everything else we can start, cranking out.
Yeah.
Two things a week.
It's going to be fun.
On theme. It's going to be great.
Yeah.
So in the spirit of Halloween, I thought it would be cool if we mentioned something along the vampires or werewolves stuff.
You want to talk about Twilight?
Twilight?
No, just kidding.
Not really.
So the more sinister.
Although my wife does mention so much about how Twilight the movie is pales in comparison to the reading of the book. She says stuff like the way their skin's supposed to look doesn't look anything right in the movies. Like, I don't know. I don't care,
No.
but she does, and so I have to listen.
Right.
You know? I mean, I want to listen. That's what I meant to say.
Oh, yeah.
Um, don't be mad at me. I'm sorry. Anyway.
That you're a smart man. You're apologizing for something that she doesn't even know about yet.
But anyway, so like I've always been fascinated with vampires and werewolves. Those have always been my favorite thing, and I think if you're okay with it, I'd like to post that painting, that werewolf painting on the pumpkin that I did a couple years ago. I'd like to. I can post that today just so people can see what I'm talking about. But I love werewolves more than vampires, of course, because they're not dead. They're still alive. Vampires are kind of just stuck like that forever. You know, werewolves, you know, they still die when they get old. So I don't want to be immortal. I just want to do cool stuff.
Here for a good time, not a long time.
Yeah. So yeah, there's werewolves, typical werewolves, human turning into a overgrown wolf that's just completely monstrous.
What's your favorite version of a werewolf? Like, what game or movie or comic or whatever do you think portrays the best version of a werewolf?
You know, that's kind of a tough question, because like I want to go to Underworld, but I also I like the style of werewolf, but I wish they had more hair. Like if we could do like a cross between the Twilight werewolf and the Underworld werewolf, like I think that would probably be the perfect combination.
Oh, okay. Okay.
You know, I can't really, like, I have a picture in my mind of what werewolves, like what I would want a werewolf to look like, but I've not really seen, I can't recall seeing anything that portrays it, you know, the way I would portray it. You know what I mean?
But bipedal and very hairy.
Not necessarily bipedal.
Oh, really?
Quadruped, but like kind of like in a sense of like a bear, where it's quadruped, but it can stand on two legs, you know, for certain situations or whatever.
Gotcha. Okay.
Like in that sense, like that's how I would believe it to be.
Gotcha. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Same question for vampires.
It's so vampires. That's a tough one, because you don't really like, you get the weird portrayal of them where they just are completely deformed, and then you have the ones that just look regular, but they have vampire fangs. So yeah, I for vampires, I think I'd prefer them to look like regular people, you know, because it fits the kind of ideology of vampires, of, you know, they have to seduce their victims and all that stuff, and you don't want to look like a monster, so you would want to look like a normal person that is a good looking and can bring you in, you know.
Did you ever watch Abraham Lincoln Vampire Slayer?
I did. I don't remember a lot from that movie because I was kind of young when I watched it, but I do remember seeing that movie.
It's pretty good. It's very ridiculous.
It is. Yeah. It's so far into sci-fi. It's like you can't even like fathom it being real.
Yeah, I mean, it's in the title.
Yeah.
Abraham Lincoln vampires. It's like, what is?
It's
It's good though.
if we lived in a world where vampires existed, I can see Abraham Lincoln. Like they like when you read history books about Abraham Lincoln, like he might like the pictures depict him as like this tall skinny guy, but he was like strong.
He was jacked in that
Like
movie.
he was he was jacked in history books too. Like the
Yeah.
history books talk about how he like chopped down a cherry tree or whatever, something like that.
I thought that was Washington, but yeah.
Oop.
I don't
Okay,
know.
maybe that
my
was
history's
Washington.
terrible.
Maybe that was Washington, but I'm pretty sure it was Abraham Lincoln who like literally like chopped down trees and built his own cabin out of them. So
What a man.
yeah, so like you don't do that if you're like skinny and scrawny. Like you got to be able to lift logs.
I mean, remember in early American history, like the Salem witch trials and things like that. I mean, that was part of America's, development. If there were witches and they were looking for those, like they might have been looking for vampires too. I mean, you never know. I haven't read anything about that, but that would be interesting.
Yeah. I mean, like witches, vampires, like they can be crossed, like I'm trying to kill this witch and she's not dying, like that could easily be a vampire, So there is a situation where it could be crossed. I don't think that there were witches. I don't think that there were vampires, but like if they were looking for witches, they could easily have been vampires.
I really wish that those things existed. Make life so much more interesting.
Yeah. I feel like it would, like knowing that there's that kind of stuff out there that could show up on your doorstep anytime, it makes you want to live life a little bit better.
Yeah.
It kind of makes you appreciate it a little bit more.
Yeah, exactly. It wouldn't be so safe.
Like the way we live nowadays, it's like there's almost nothing to worry about.
Yeah.
Like you have a way to pay your bills. You have a way to provide for your family, and if you don't, like there's ways to make it happen.
And food is always accessible.
So things are so easy for us that we kind of just like we worry so much about things that don't really matter.
Yeah, exactly.
And not worrying about like the life that you have and appreciating the fact that you don't have to worry.
Yeah. Like I think humans were developed to undergo struggle and overcome adversity, just like every other wild animal.
Mm-hmm. The thing
and
is,
we have like completely removed ourselves from that almost.
Well, I mean, it's not that we removed I wouldn't say we removed ourselves from that, because we still face those things, even if it's not out in the wild situation. Like you're not like there's still, you come up. We've gotten to a point where we've overcome the survivability, and so like now it's like we have to worry about something else.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's literally people making up things to view themselves as a diversity.
Mm-hmm.
And so we've overdeveloped.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say is like we don't have to worry about trying to catch another animal for our next meal, or hoping we stumble upon some sort of fruit that we can eat or whatever. We've removed ourselves from like the primal difficulties that early humans had to face. And so yeah, we have other problems, but the thing is like those instincts and those things that we're expecting to face are still hardwired in our brains.
And so now we just look for them.
Yeah, and we look for them and
we create them.
Create them ourselves, and it's kind of crazy. But like, I was thinking about this because I had to go get some cat food this morning for my cat. And, when my cat was younger, she used to be outside a lot more, and she would like kill birds and bring them to me. And they say that that's, like a gift, like like they're trying to feed you and whatever, because like that's their instinct. Well,
you should have ate it.
I probably should have bit the head right off of that bird.
Appreciate your cat more.
Yeah, sorry. Sorry, kitty. But she was out of food yesterday, right? Yeah. She was out of food, and I didn't have time to go to the store because she really only eats canned food now. And so she was like crying, and I was like, I promise first thing in the morning, like I'll go get food. And so I went to Walmart this morning at like 6:30, and I got her canned food, and I brought it home. And as soon as I walked through the door, she like lifted her head up, and she was like watching me. And she saw that I had bags from Walmart, and she knows that that's, when I bring home Walmart bags and she's out of food, I probably have food for her. And so she like followed me in the kitchen, and I gave her the food. And I was just thinking, like, that's kind of the same thing as her bringing me the bird. Like she's trying to take care of me. And then when she runs out of food, she's relying on me to bring it to her. And I leave the house and I come back with something for her to eat. And so like, it's kind of the same thing. And so when I got back home, she knew. And I was like, that's kind of weird, because it's something that's built in. Mm-hmm. And you can see it across different species. And I don't know how we plan on talking about vampires and werewolves. But anyway, I just thought that was interesting.
Well, I like where it went. Like we brought up, vampires and werewolves, and it kind of like went into like how we compare ourselves to these situations and what the effect that having those things would be on our lives and stuff like that. I'm completely okay with the way it's going.
Okay.
So I have a funny story that kind of ties in with your cat story.
Okay.
So I had a cat back when I was a teenager, and one time it got a rabbit, right? It got a rabbit, it bit its head off and left the body lying in the floor. Me and my stepdad cooked it up and ate it.
No
and
way.
It was good.
No way.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. That's the first time I ever ate rabbit. Last time I ever ate rabbit. I don't do rabbit hunting. I don't do hunting at all. Hunting
rabbits.
My personal view is I don't think hunting is appropriate now, like with the way we live our lives now. I can see some people how if they have to live off the land, that situation, that's fine, but I'm not a personal fan of hunting. So anyway, aside from that, rabbit was good. If we could commercialize rabbit, that'd be great.
That same cat that I'm talking about actually did the same thing for me, which is weird. But she chewed the head off, which I thought was interesting that you said your cat did the same thing. She wasn't trying to feed me with the rabbit though. She just like ate on it and out in the yard for a while. But like I came home from church one night and it was dark, and I saw her out in my parents' front yard. I still lived with my parents at that time, and she was like over something that was white. And I walked over there and was like, oh great, like she killed something. The head was completely gone. And I was like, what in the world? Like, what did you do? You're just like, she's just a cat. How is that possible? But she chewed its head off. Animals, dude.
I mean,
they're vicious.
Ozzy bit a bat's head off. It can't be that hard.
Well, I was, my thinking was just like, how did she separate it? Like, I would have thought that like the neck bone like would have kept it connected, or like how did she chew through the whole thing? Her cat's mouths are not that big, and so I was just like, well, it doesn't make sense to me, but apparently they can do that. So,
well, I mean, like if they get their teeth positioned in the right spot, like on the back of the neck, like one side of the tooth in between one vertebrae and one, between another, like you just
Pops
bite it
right
out.
off.
You just bite it out. Bite the whole backbone right out of there.
Gosh. Oh, yeah. Cats are pretty crazy. This is kind of just a small segue. I don't know where we're going to go from here, but my grandpa's a master falconer or whatever. Well, one time he had me help him feed his hawk, and he had a red tail, and it was in this pen, and it was one that he had been working with for a while. I think it was a hawk he named Buddy, and it was probably, I think, his favorite red tail he's ever had. And this particular time, he wanted to feed it a live rat. He feeds these rats. He feeds the hawks different things at different times. Like sometimes it's pieces of heart from different animals. Sometimes it's like baby frozen chicks, things like that. But this particular time, he wanted to feed it a live rat, and he had me feed it the live rat. And I was not prepared because I was pretty young for what I was about to see. And so, like, I put it at the edge of the pen where it could have got out. And he was like, well, you need to pick it up and put it in the middle so that the bird will see it and can get to it a little easier. And so I was like, okay, because I was scared of the bird. And so I take the rat and I put it in the middle of the pen, and the bird immediately jumps on it, and it starts to like squeeze the rat. And they have so it's on top of the rat, pushing down on the rat, squeezing it with its feet, and trying to suffocate it, because that's what they do with small rodents and things like that. So then it starts to reposition itself on top of the rat, and one of its talons goes straight through this rat's eye, and it's just squeezing this rat's head while it's like eyes popping out. I was like, oh my God, I did that. I put that little guy in there. He didn't know what was coming, and now he's literally got the life being squeezed out of him. And it was messed up. But that's nature, I guess. And yeah. Never helped him again. I murdered that rat. Like, I'm responsible.
You're an accessory to murder.
Yeah. Whew. It was whack.
Yeah, I can imagine.
So, I guess back to the werewolf vampire thing, if you want. Have you heard about those like underground clubs where people claim to be vampires and stuff go and they drink each other's blood?
I don't. I mean, I've heard of them, but I've never like they kind of died out. I think I don't know if like the rumors of them died out.
The rumors of them died out. Yeah.
I mean, growing up, I heard that kind of stuff. I mean, you watch Blade, and it's like it's a no-brainer. Like that's what we should be doing. We should be going to raves and drinking each other's blood. Like that's a thing, But I think people growed out of it, and the newer generation doesn't really care about stuff like that.
As far as we know, but I think you're right. I think that was more of a thing that people our age did.
Yeah.
And I've seen like coverage from like news stations and things about that, and I've seen videos on YouTube of people going into the clubs, and yeah, it's pretty crazy. So I mean, not in the traditional sense, but I mean there are people who
do that.
Yeah, who
They're-
like they try to make themselves be as close to a vampire and do vampiric
There
things
are
as they
people
can.
out there that do that. I don't know about the underground partying thing, but
Well, it's not. I guess I shouldn't have said club. It's more like a blood bar. Like I've seen them go down into these like weird staircases, which seems very like it's out of a movie or something. But I've seen them. It's like a secret staircase, and they go into this underground room, and there's people there who are draining their blood, and other people are drinking it. And there are like hosts. There are people who like being hosts, and there's people who like to drink the blood. And I've seen them do it out of a cup, and I've seen them do it directly from like a person's arm. So I mean, I guess in a sense, not really the immortal supernatural way, but there are vampires in real life. But those are the kind of people you're not scared of in the traditional.
There are people
scary
out there
monster
that
sense.
leisurely
Pretend to be vampires.
drink blood.
Yes. Very strange.
Borderline cannibals.
Yes. I mean, where's the line as far as that goes? I would say that is cannibalistic.
Well, because
It's not flesh,
I wouldn't
but
say it's cannibalism because you're not eating the person. You're more or less drinking the person.
oh, okay.
And
So
that
as long as
person's
you
not
turn them into a beverage, it's
the,
fine.
the person's not dying as a result.
But they
So-
could. I mean, it'd be like, okay, so like, I guess to use that as an example, why I would maybe say it is cannibalistic is because like, what if I just eat someone's big toe and they don't die? Or like, what if I take their big toe off and I blend it and make a smoothie?
Can you imagine? Can you imagine like, hey, I want to eat something off you, but I don't want to kill you. I guess I'll just eat your toe.
Yeah.
Like what kind of level of degradation do you have to be at to settle for a toe?
You'll be desperate.
I'd rather eat a cow than eat a toe off a human if I was a cannibal. Like, I don't care.
Yeah, the whole Jeffrey Dahmer thing.
Just
Like, some
slice
people are
off-
sick.
Slice off some of the meat off the calf. Like no one needs that stuff.
Meat. You just said meat. You're kind of looking at me funny.
I'm not.
I know. But the listener doesn't know that. They can't prove anything. Yeah. I will never eat human meat. Or drink I'll never drink a person either.
I will never.
It's an oath.
I can say the same thing as long as it doesn't apply to myself.
What do you're
Is it-
willing to
if
be
I-
drank?
If I cut my finger, it goes straight to my mouth.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I just washed mine off.
What if you can't get to
Cannibal.
what if you can't get to the sink in time? Like
wipe
you're
it on my
dripping
clothes.
blood all over the place. I'd rather put it in my mouth, stop the blood with my tongue until I get to the sink.
I have to admit, I've done that before.
Okay.
I try not to, though.
I don't consider myself a cannibal. So
Well, the verdict is out. Stefan is not a cannibal. Well, I guess you're right. I guess it's not. It's close to cannibalism, though.
Yeah.
It's close enough for me to
it's a blurry line.
condemn it. Yeah,
It's a blurry line.
yeah. I mean, where do you stop? Like, say you're in one of them rave nightclubs, and
Like
some
if-
dude's like, you want to suck the blood out of my forearm, and you're like, yeah, and then like you're doing it, and you're like, I've never done this before, and then you decide to take a bite.
Well, I would imagine it
Not
would
good.
be a situation where like, let me just cut out this triangular prism out of your arm, and I'll just
Like a chip?
I want not a chip, more like a cheese stick.
Gosh. I mean, I know Halloween's
Like
coming up.
like a spaghetti noodle.
Oh no. Okay, so like you don't wear headphones, so you did not hear that the way that I just heard that.
Did it sound as good as I hoped it would?
Yeah.
Great.
It probably sounded worse than you wanted it to. It's disturbing.
That's the point.
Yeah.
That was the point. So
Yeah.
as long as it got my point across.
Yeah, I hated it. Oh, nope. That's
Slipper up that meat.
that human meat. Oh, jeez.
That's why I like Halloween. You can say and do any random stuff, and it's okay because it's Halloween.
Yeah. Where there's got to be a line somewhere, though.
When you make it real, that's the line.
Yeah, you're right.
You can say stuff and joke around all you want, but when you make it happen for real, that's where the line
It's
is.
really weird how many creepy, terrible things are acceptable during the month of October, and like no one bats an eye. And then like the rest of the year, it's like, okay, like the same things you do during these 31 days.
Yeah.
If you do it any of the other days of the year,
Like
you're gonna get
what
arrested.
happened at work last week. Like if he would have just waited, a few more weeks, it would have been October, and he would probably got away with it.
You're right. That's why I had to act
He's acting out. What is his name?
Michael Myers.
Michael Myers from Halloween.
Yeah, that's what he was doing.
That's what he was doing.
Definitely wasn't practicing to stab us. Yeah, I'm trying to get an idea of how we can make or get a skeleton costume for some of the stuff we have coming up.
You want to do skeleton?
What I'd like to do is have like one of those skeleton masks with the moving jaw that has like the black see-through material on the inside. So it's, the eyes are black, and when the mouth moves, you don't see my face.
Mm-hmm.
And then like wear my like dark cloak, and that's what I want to. Well, I can't spoil anything, but that's what I want to use for the things that we're gonna do.
Okay.
I think that could be really cool.
Yeah.
Another
option, if we can't find a mask like that, we could literally make it out of cardboard, paint it white, and glue it to one of those spandex things.
Yeah, I don't know what material that is, but it's very breathable though.
I think it's
Is it
spandex.
Spandex. Okay. We'll figure it out. It's gonna be fun though.
Anyway, we could glue the pieces to the spandex, and then you have free motion whenever you move. Like the pieces will move.
Yeah, that'll be really cool. Well, whatever we do, I just gotta like make sure it like fits to my head so everything moves properly. But oh man, it's gonna be cool.
I literally will put the thing over your head and then glue it to your face while it's on.
You gonna use hot glue?
No,
Burn my face?
I'll use super glue.
Oh my gosh. There's got to be a better way.
I'm just kidding.
Maybe
We'll probably
tape it on.
Yeah, we'll tape it on at first, and then after it comes off your head, of course, we'll glue it.
Okay.
Just trying to scare you a little bit. Don't worry.
Yeah. Well, I hot glued some stuff together the other day, some fabric, and when I was pressing down on the fabric, the hot glue came through it and melted to my fingers. And
I love hot glue.
Yeah, me too. I didn't like that though. It was pretty hot. Stringy.
A few years ago, I used to regularly go to the Castle of Muskogee for the medieval festival or whatever. I'd go every year. I went every year for a few years in a row. I stopped going. But one year I made my own hat, like the dovetail hat.
Yeah.
Like Robin Hood. And it was sick. I cut apart, what are those? The Tom hats? What are they called?
I'm not sure what you mean.
The fedoras?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, yeah. I cut apart a fedora, and I made this like super long, pointy dove hat. And it was sick, dude.
Nice.
I loved it. And I put a little feather in it and everything.
Okay, so I'm going to say something For people who live around this area, you'll know what I'm talking about. Maybe the Halloween festival that they do every year is pretty cool. I really like it. I've been a few times. I've also been just to like the Renaissance fair that they've done. No shade at them. It's a fun place to go. I'm pretty sure it's a cult. I'm pretty
It's
sure.
not a cult, it's an actors guild.
I don't think it is. Okay, so I know someone I went to church with as a young kid. This man was my Sunday school teacher, and him and his wife were very, very traditional Pentecostal. I still to this day like respect him. He's trying to live the best life that he knows how to live, and they live a very simple life. They have hardly any electrical devices in their house. They like work farmland. It's almost like they're Amish or something. But they're not very nice people, but they're good people. And this man and his wife had a son, and the son went away for a little while. And turns out he went to the castle of Muskogee, and I heard through the grapevine that he had started to live there with the other people. And I was like, what do you mean the other people? I'm pretty sure it's a cult. And they pretend like they live in medieval times.
Oh my lord.
And then they let people in.
Nobody's living at the castle.
Do you know that?
They would shut that place down if people were living in there.
I don't know, man. Again, I'm not saying it is. I'm saying I think it is. Regardless, free publicity. If you want, the Castle of Muskogee Halloween Festival is pretty cool. You should go. Maybe it is a cult. That makes the experience better.
I like it no matter what is going on there. The Renaissance, the fireworks shows, the
They
Halloween.
do cool stuff.
They got Christmas thing too, I think. All of it is really cool. Like
pretty cool. They have a castle, obviously, and
it's not a real castle.
well, no,
It's made of cardboard, it looks like. I don't know.
that's a lot of big cardboard.
I don't know what it's made out of.
Me either.
It looks like cardboard to me.
Yeah, it's not a real castle, but it's a giant building that looks like a castle. And at Halloween, they turn it into a really good like haunted house experience. So you walk through and they'll make you pee your pants. And that's pretty cool.
I don't know about that. Pretty tough guy over here.
Well, yeah, I'm not. I get scared easy.
The scariest like haunted house I've been to was the one in Van Buren. The I don't remember what it's called, but it's like they claim for it to be like this jail.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
And then they have like a wooded forest.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's probably the scariest one I've been into. You go into the building part. I don't know if they had the building open last year, but you go into the building part, and it's like really narrow, and it's like maybe 10 feet wide by like, I don't know, like maybe 200 to 300 feet long. And it's like a little mini maze. Like you go this way, you go up, you go left, you go up, you go right. Like it's really like a simple corridor maze, elongated. And every time you turn, there is some sort of animatronic or some sort of puppet jumping out, and it's just terrifying. Lots of strobe lights. Like you can't see nothing until it's like in your face making weird noises. Anyway, that was scary. The woods is kind of scary, like just because you're in the woods and you don't know what's going on. Like there could be something, like every single time you walk by a tree, you're waiting for someone to jump out.
Right.
And it only happens like 5 times.
Yeah.
and at the end, these guys will chase you out with chainsaws.
Yep.
And that's pretty scary.
Yeah, it's like you think you're done.
Yeah.
Right? Like you're walking towards the exit and then they're behind you and
Yeah, they come, like you walk, like you're like, okay, I can see the clearing. I'm like, we're done. Okay. And you start walking and like you walk and then out of nowhere, these guys come up. They're like, you hear the chainsaws, you look behind you and they're stepping out from trees that you just passed. Like, how did I miss y'all?
Yep. That's what makes it so scary.
Yeah.
Well, you want to call it?
Yeah.
All right.
Let's call it.
Okay, cool.
8675309.
Exactly.
Call it.
Well, thank you guys for listening to episode 33. Halloween is coming up. We got a lot of cool stuff. Stay tuned and check out our contest whenever we announce that. You don't want to miss out on your opportunity to to win. I don't know what I'm saying. You don't want to miss your opportunity to win one of our cool limited edition pedals that we have coming out this next month.
Yeah.
And talk to you next episode.
Bye.
Bye.